Welcome to the labyrinth of Jeffrey Epstein's life, a tale of power, wealth, and scandal. Born in 1953, Epstein was raised in a modest, working-class neighborhood in Brooklyn, New York. A bright student, he navigated his way through the education system and eventually landed in the world of finance, a world that would prove to be his golden ticket to the realms of power and privilege. The young boy from Brooklyn rapidly ascended the ranks, accumulating wealth, status, and an ever-growing network of high-profile associates. Epstein's reputation as a financier and philanthropist grew. He was seen rubbing shoulders with the likes of billionaires and world leaders, his name often mentioned in the same breath as some of the most influential figures of our times. However, the facade of respectability Epstein had carefully constructed was not as it seemed. Behind the closed doors of his opulent mansions, and on his private island, a much darker narrative was being written. A narrative that would eventually lead to his downfall. In the world of finance, Epstein was a king. In the world of philanthropy, a generous benefactor. But beneath the veneer of respectability, a sinister undertow was gathering force. The man who had once walked among the elite was about to be unmasked, revealing a web of secrets, lies, and shocking revelations. This is the story of Jeffrey Epstein, a story that takes us on a journey through the corridors of power, wealth, and scandal. A story that exposes the dark underbelly of a society that often chooses to look the other way. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the labyrinth that is Epstein's life and the shocking revelations that continue to unfold. The public facade crumbled in 2005 when Epstein's dark side came to light. This was the year when the first allegations against Jeffrey Epstein emerged, causing shockwaves throughout the world. In Palm Beach, Florida, the parents of a young girl came forward to police. They claimed Epstein had molested their 14-year-old daughter. This initiated an investigation that uncovered a horrifying pattern. Girls, often from disadvantaged backgrounds, were lured into Epstein's world with promises of money and support. Instead, they were sexually exploited and abused. In 2008, Epstein faced the music in a courtroom, charged with procuring an underage girl for prostitution. His deep pockets and connections, however, seemed to work in his favor. He struck a controversial plea deal with the prosecution, pleading guilty to a single-state charge of soliciting prostitution from minors. What was even more shocking was the light sentence he received. Epstein served just 13 months of an 18-month sentence in a private wing of a county jail. Instead of a life behind bars that many believed he deserved, Epstein was allowed to leave the jail for work 6 days a week, a privilege rarely granted. This lenient treatment of a man accused of such horrific crimes sparked outrage. The plea deal was criticized for its lack of transparency, as it was made without the knowledge or consent of Epstein's victims. The case highlighted the stark disparity in the criminal justice system, where wealth and influence can tip the scales in favor of the accused. But Epstein's story didn't end there. A decade later, the past would come back to haunt Epstein. The allegations against him refused to die down, and the quest for justice continued. Despite his attempts to move on, Epstein's dark past was far from forgotten. In 2019, Epstein's past caught up with him in a startling way. The financier was arrested on charges of sex trafficking, and the world watched in shock as the extent of his crimes began to emerge. Epstein was accused of sexually abusing around 150 girls and women, with some of the victims being underage. His operation was vast and intricate, involving powerful associates and complex schemes. His arrest and the subsequent trial were meant to bring justice to his victims, but Epstein's story took an unexpected turn. In August 2019, Epstein was found dead in his jail cell. The official cause of death was ruled as suicide, but the circumstances surrounding his passing sparked controversy and, inevitably, conspiracy theories. Some suggested foul play, others pointed to a possible cover-up, and many questioned the conditions that could have led to his death in a high-security facility. Epstein's death, however, did not extinguish the pursuit of justice. His closest associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, was found guilty of trafficking and sexually abusing girls. She is currently serving a 20-year prison sentence. Another key figure, Jean-Luc Brunel, an alleged trafficker tied to Epstein, died by suicide before he could face trial. But the mystery of Epstein's fortune and connections continued to unravel. His relationships with billionaires Les Wexner and Leon Black as well as his association with JP Chase, came under scrutiny. Civil lawsuits against Black are ongoing as the world seeks to understand the full extent of Epstein's network. Yet Epstein's death was far from the end of the story. The pursuit of truth and justice continues, with new revelations emerging about the people linked to Epstein's dark world. The unsealing of court documents has brought to light the names of over 170 of Epstein's associates, marking a new chapter in this ongoing saga. In the wake of Epstein's death, the quest for justice took a dramatic turn. As we entered the year 2024, a significant development unfolded in the Epstein saga. Court documents related to Epstein's case were unsealed, laying bare an extensive network of connections. The documents revealed the names of over 170 associates of Epstein. It's crucial to note that the unveiling of these names does not necessarily suggest their implication in Epstein's wrongdoings. Rather, it serves to shed light on the vast network that Epstein had cultivated over the years. Among these names, some are well-known figures, such as former President Bill Clinton and Prince Andrew. However, their inclusion in these documents should not be seen as an indication of guilt. These individuals, like many others named, had connections with Epstein, but it does not prove participation in his criminal activities. Also worthy of discussion is Ghislaine Maxwell, a close associate of Epstein. In the course of the investigations, Maxwell was found guilty of trafficking and sexually abusing girls. She is currently serving a 20-year prison sentence, marking a significant step forward in the pursuit of justice for Epstein's victims. This revelation of Epstein's extensive network of associates is a stark reminder of the scope of his influence. It's a sobering thought that Epstein was able to weave such a complex web of connections, even as he perpetuated his cycle of abuse. While the unsealing of the documents has not brought forth any groundbreaking revelations, it has provided a deeper insight into Epstein's world. It has also reinforced the need for continued scrutiny and investigation into all avenues related to Epstein's case. As we continue to delve deeper into the Epstein saga, we must remember that the true focus should be on the victims. Their stories and their quest for justice should be at the forefront of our discussions. The fallout from Epstein's crimes continues to reverberate. The Jeffrey Epstein saga is a stark reminder of the insidiousness of power when unchecked. The ripple effects of his heinous actions continue to be felt, not only by his victims, but by society as a whole, as we grapple with the grim reality of his unchecked abuse. Epstein's victims, numbering around 150 girls and women, continue their fight for justice. Their courage and resilience serve as a beacon of hope for countless others who have suffered in silence. The unsealing of documents related to Epstein's operations, although not revealing a rumored client list, has shed light on the operations of Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, his associate now serving a 20-year prison sentence for her role in the abuse. The impact of Epstein's actions has also reverberated within the halls of power, with numerous high-profile figures named in association with Epstein. However, it's important to note that these unsealed documents do not necessarily implicate all named individuals in wrongdoing. The ongoing investigations and lawsuits related to Epstein's activities are part of a critical process of accountability. They serve as a stark reminder of the need for vigilance and proactive measures against sexual abuse and trafficking. The Epstein case has prompted a necessary conversation on the intersections of power, privilege, and abuse. The societal implications of the Epstein case can't be understated. It has triggered a renewed focus on combating sex trafficking, reinforcing the importance of safeguarding the vulnerable against exploitation. Epstein's story is a chilling reminder of how societal structures can be manipulated by those with power to perpetrate abuse. The Epstein saga, etched with pain and scandal, serves as a somber testament to the need for justice and accountability. It's a story that underscores the importance of vigilance in our fight against abuse and exploitation, a fight that must continue until every victim finds their voice and every perpetrator faces justice.